What if I told you one plant can earn money from its leaves, its seeds, its oil, and even its seedlings, while another sells for over 10 times more than ordinary vegetables? Yet almost nobody grows them. Today you'll discover 13 plants that buyers quietly pay premium prices for, and plant number 1 might completely change what you decide to grow next. Some of these you've walked past 100 times without knowing what they were worth. Others are sitting in your kitchen right now, disguised as something completely ordinary. Most people grow tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, normal stuff, normal prices. But thousands of small growers are quietly making more money from plants most people have never even heard of. The surprising part? Many of them need less space, less water, and face far less competition than the vegetables sitting in every backyard garden in America. Some of these plants sell to just one buyer. Others sell to 5 different industries at the same time. And a few of them are already growing somewhere near you right now. Completely ignored. Let's start with number 13. Number 13. Elderberry. This doesn't look valuable. It looks like a wild bush growing along a fence line, the kind most homeowners cut down without a second thought. But one harvest can create 4 different products from the same plant. Dried berries, syrup, tincture, and flower extract, all sold separately, all at different price points. Why do buyers pay for it? Not because it's rare botanically. Because demand outran supply the moment elderberry became a household name for immune support, and commercial growers still can't keep up. Who buys it? Herbal supplement companies, syrup and tincture brands, health food stores, farmers market regulars who buy it every single week in cold and flu season. Many small batch syrup makers actively look for local growers instead of buying frozen berries in bulk from overseas, simply because fresh, locally sourced fruit lets them market their product as farm to bottle. It's easy to grow too. Elderberry tolerates poor soil, needs minimal spraying, and once established, keeps producing for years with almost no maintenance, making it one of the lowest effort plants on this entire list. Here's the wow fact. A single mature elderberry bush can produce over 20 pounds of berries in one season, and dried elderberry routinely sells for more per pound than premium coffee. Pricing has stayed strong for years now, not just one good season. Fresh berries sell direct to processors. Dried berries sell to supplement makers, and even the flowers alone have a market for elderflower syrup and cordial, which means one plant is really 3 separate income streams rolled into one. But the next plant is even stranger. Most gardeners treat it like a floral decoration. Buyers treat it like raw material for 3 completely separate industries. Number 12, Calendula. Most people walk right past this plant. It looks like a simple orange flower, the kind you'd find in a cheap seed packet at a hardware store. But calendula gets sold into skincare, herbal tea, and salve production all at the same time. 3 different buyers, 3 different price tags, 1 flower. Why the premium? Because calendula oil and extract are labor-intensive to produce at scale, and most large farms don't bother. That gap is exactly where small growers step in. Who buys it? Soap makers, cosmetic companies, herbal tea brands, natural skincare startups that need a steady, reliable supplier they can trust season after season. Small skincare brands in particular prefer working with a single dependable grower rather than a large distributor, since consistency in color and quality matters more to them than getting the absolute lowest price. Growing it is almost beginner-proof. Calendula thrives in containers, tolerates poor soil, and blooms repeatedly if you keep cutting the flowers. The wow fact: farmers sell the exact same flower head to 3 separate industries without changing a single thing about how they grow it. And because calendula blooms again and again through the season, one planting can support repeat sales to the same buyer for months, which is exactly the kind of steady income small growers look for. Quick question. If someone handed you 1 acre today, which plant so far would you choose? Take 5 seconds. Think about it. Now let's keep going, because the next plant might be growing in your pond right now, and you didn't even know it had value. Number 11. Duckweed. This one sounds almost like a joke. Duckweed is the tiny green film that covers still ponds, the stuff most people scoop out and throw away because it looks like pond scum. But duckweed is one of the fastest growing plants on Earth, and that speed is exactly why buyers want it. Why does it sell? Because it's packed with protein, doubles in mass in under 2 days under the right conditions, and requires almost zero land. Livestock feed companies and aquaculture operations are actively searching for reliable duckweed suppliers because demand for sustainable protein sources keeps climbing every year. Who buys it? Fish farms, poultry feed producers, research labs studying alternative protein, some specialty health food companies experimenting with duckweed powder as a plant protein source. Feed producers in particular like duckweed because it can be grown close to where it's needed, cutting down on shipping costs compared to traditional feed crops grown far away and trucked in. Growing it couldn't be simpler. All it needs is standing water, some sunlight, and basic nutrients. No soil, no weeding, no pest spraying. Here's the wow fact. Under ideal conditions, duckweed can double its entire biomass in under 48 hours, making it one of the highest yield plants per square foot on the planet. Because it grows so fast, growers can harvest continuously instead of waiting for a single season, which means a small backyard pond setup can turn into a steady weekly supply contract with the right buyer. But the next plant on this list isn't small at all. It's the vegetable most people throw straight into the trash without knowing what's hiding inside it. Number 10. Loofah. Most people know loofah as bathroom sponge, sitting in a plastic wrapper at the grocery store. Almost nobody realizes it starts as a vegetable that looks a lot like a cucumber. But one loofah harvest can produce sponges for bath products, edible young pods for cooking, and seeds for the next planting season. 3 revenue streams from one vine. Why the premium? Natural, biodegradable sponges have become a fast-growing alternative to plastic scrubbers, and most of the loofah sold in stores is imported. Domestic growers who can supply local buyers have almost no competition. Who buys it? Eco-friendly bath and body brands. Farmers market shoppers looking for plastic-free products. Specialty grocery stores. Some restaurants that use the young pods as a cooking vegetable in Asian cuisine. Gift shops near tourist areas also do well selling dried loofah sponges as a simple, natural souvenir, which gives growers another retail channel beyond the usual health and beauty market. It's an easy vine to grow, especially on a trellis, and it thrives in warm climates with minimal care once established. A single trellis setup along a fence line can produce a surprising amount of usable product without taking up any real garden space. The wow fact. A single loofah vine can produce more than a dozen full-size sponges in one growing season, each one sellable at a price far higher than the vegetable version of the same plant. Buyers also like working directly with growers because it lets them market the sponge as locally made, something imported loofah simply can't offer, and that story alone can justify a higher retail price. The next plant is even stranger. Most gardeners treat it like a weed, buyers treat it like premium inventory. Number 9. Ashwagandha. This plant looks like nothing special. A small shrub with dull green leaves and tiny yellow flowers, the kind you'd walk past without noticing at all. But ashwagandha root has become one of the most searched herbal supplements in the entire country, and demand has exploded worldwide over the last several years. Why do buyers pay for it? Supply from traditional growing regions can't keep up with the surge in supplement demand, which means domestic growers who can supply clean, well-processed root have real leverage in this market. Who buys it? Supplement manufacturers, herbal medicine companies, wellness brands building adaptogen product lines, some specialty tea companies adding it to blends. Because ashwagandha appears in everything from capsules to powders to gummies, one grower's root can end up split across several different finished products, all sold under different labels. Growing it is more approachable than people assume. Ashwagandha tolerates dry conditions and poor soil, and it can be grown in warmer regions of the U.S. without much fuss. The wow fact. A single ashwagandha plant produces a root system that keeps growing in value the longer it stays in the ground, meaning patience alone increases what a grower can charge per pound. Buyers in this space often sign standing orders with growers they trust, which means one good harvest can turn into a repeat contract instead of a one-time sale. Quick question. Out of these 5 so far, which one would actually fit in your own backyard? Take 5 seconds before we move to the next one. Number 8. Lavender. Most people see lavender and think of a candle scent. Nothing more than something pretty growing along a walkway. But lavender fields quietly supply 3 separate markets at once: essential oil distilleries, dried flower buyers for craft and gift products, and culinary buyers who use it in baking and specialty drinks. Why the premium? Because true lavender essential oil requires a large volume of flowers just to produce a small amount of oil, and that distillation process is something most home growers never attempt, which keeps prices high for anyone who does it well. Who buys it? Essential oil companies, bath and body brands, specialty bakeries and coffee shops building lavender-flavored menu items, craft markets and gift shops buying dried bundles by the case. Culinary buyers in particular are a growing category since lavender lattes, lavender lemonade, and lavender desserts have become common menu items at independent coffee shops and bakeries across the country. Growing it is genuinely low maintenance once established. Lavender prefers dry soil, needs very little watering, and actually performs worse with too much attention, which makes it one of the easiest plants on this entire list. For a grower who wants steady, low-effort income, it's hard to find a better starting point than this one. The wow fact: it can take over 100 pounds of lavender flowers to produce a single pound of pure essential oil, which is exactly why that small bottle on the shelf costs what it does. Growers who sell dried bundles instead of oil skip the distillation step entirely and still get paid well, which makes lavender one of the more flexible plants on this list, depending on how much equipment a grower wants to invest in. But the next plant is the one almost nobody expects to see on a list like this at all. Number 7. Moringa. Before we continue, here's something almost nobody tells beginners. Growing a profitable plant isn't enough. Knowing who buys it is what actually makes the money. Keep that in mind because moringa is the perfect example. This tree doesn't look impressive at first glance. Thin leaves, skinny branches, nothing that screams valuable. But one moringa tree can produce leaves for years, and every single part of it sells separately: leaf powder, seeds, oil, and even young seedlings for other growers who want to start their own trees. Why the premium? Moringa leaf powder has become a staple in the health food industry, and the tree grows far faster than most people expect, which means growers who understand the market can turn a profit quickly. Who buys it? Supplement companies, health food stores, smoothie and juice brands, cosmetic companies using moringa oil in skincare lines, nurseries buying young seedlings to resell. Because moringa grows so fast, some growers sell seedlings to other aspiring growers before their own trees are even mature enough to harvest leaves, creating income from day one instead of waiting for the first full crop. Growing it is beginner-friendly. Moringa tolerates drought, grows fast even in poor soil, and can be kept small with regular pruning if space is limited, making it realistic even for someone working with a modest backyard instead of open farmland. The wow fact: one mature moringa tree can produce leaves for over 20 years, meaning a single planting decision today could generate income for 2 full decades. That's the whole point of knowing your buyer ahead of time. A grower who lines up a supplement company or a juice brand before the first harvest gets paid immediately, while a grower who waits and hopes for interest afterward often sells for far less. But the next plant is even stranger. Most people have eaten it without knowing it came from the ocean, not the ground. Number 6. Sea moss. Most people have never even heard of this one, and if they have, they think it's just a health trend on social media, nothing worth taking seriously. But sea moss has quietly become one of the fastest growing categories in the health food space, and demand has grown faster than most domestic suppliers can keep up with. Why the premium? Because sea moss requires clean coastal water conditions to grow well, and processing it properly into gel or powder takes real skill, which keeps the supply chain thin and gives early growers a real advantage. Who buys it? Health food stores, smoothie and juice bars, supplement brands building gut health product lines, specialty skincare companies using it in moisturizers. Wellness influencers promoting sea moss gel online have also driven a wave of direct consumer demand, giving small growers a way to sell finished jars directly instead of only supplying wholesale buyers. Growing it takes some setup, since it needs a coastal or controlled aquaculture environment, but once that system is in place, it requires far less daily maintenance than most land crops. The initial investment is really the only hard part. After that, the plant mostly takes care of itself. The wow fact: demand for sea moss products has grown so quickly in recent years that some suppliers have struggled to keep it in stock, creating a real opening for new growers willing to learn the process. Coastal growers with access to clean water have a natural head start here, but land-based tank systems have also made it possible to produce sea moss further inland, which is widening who can actually enter this market. Quick question: out of these 8 so far, which one surprised you the most? Take 5 seconds, because the next plant might surprise you even more. Number 5. Stevia. Most people know stevia only as a packet on a restaurant table, never realizing it starts as a simple green leafy plant that looks almost like basil. But stevia leaf has become a serious ingredient for an entire industry trying to move away from sugar and artificial sweeteners, and buyers are actively looking for reliable growers. Why the premium? Because extracting the sweet compounds from stevia leaves at a usable concentration takes processing knowledge most large farms skip, which leaves an opening for smaller growers who focus on quality leaf production instead. Who buys it? Natural sweetener companies, beverage brands cutting sugar from their formulas, health food manufacturers, some tea companies blending it directly into their products. Diabetic-friendly product lines are also a steady source of demand, since stevia lets manufacturers cut sugar without giving up sweetness, and that category keeps expanding as more consumers watch their sugar intake. Growing it is fairly simple in warm climates, and it also does well in containers, which makes it realistic even for growers without much outdoor space. Even a handful of pots on a patio can produce enough leaf to supply a small local buyer on a regular basis. The wow fact: stevia leaves can be up to 30 times sweeter than sugar by weight, meaning a small harvest goes much further than most people expect. As more brands look to move away from artificial sweeteners entirely, buyers are increasingly willing to pay a premium for domestically grown, traceable stevia leaf instead of relying on imported extract with an unclear origin. The next plant takes years of patience, but the payout at the end is one of the biggest surprises on this entire list. Number 4. Ginseng. Most people walk right past this plant without knowing what it is. It grows low to the ground, hidden under forest canopy, easy to miss unless you know exactly what you're looking for. But ginseng root has one of the highest per-pound prices of any plant grown in North America. And wild simulated ginseng can sell for hundreds of dollars a pound depending on age and quality. Why does it sell so high? Because ginseng takes years to mature, and that long growing time keeps supply naturally low while demand from herbal medicine markets keeps rising, especially from overseas buyers willing to pay top dollar for quality root. Who buys it? Herbal medicine distributors, traditional medicine markets, particularly export buyers, specialty health stores, root brokers who work directly with growers. Export buyers in particular often pay the highest prices since wild simulated American ginseng carries a strong reputation overseas, and brokers actively seek out growers who can supply properly aged root on a consistent basis. Growing it takes patience more than effort. Ginseng thrives under forest shade with minimal care, but most growers wait 5 to 10 years before harvesting for maximum value. That long wait is exactly why so few people bother, and exactly why the ones who do rarely face much competition when it's finally time to sell. The wow fact: properly aged wild simulated ginseng root has sold for prices rivaling silver by weight, making it one of the most valuable plants an average grower can legally cultivate in the U.S. Age matters more than almost anything else with this crop. A 10-year-old root can sell for several times what a 5-year-old root brings, which means the biggest profits often go to the grower with the most patience, not the most land. Quick question: would you be willing to wait years for a bigger payout, or would you rather grow something faster? Think about it, because the final 3 plants answer that question in 3 completely different ways. Number 3. Saffron. This plant looks almost too delicate to be valuable. A small purple crocus flower, blooming for just a few weeks each fall, easy to dismiss as purely decorative. But saffron is consistently ranked as the most expensive spice in the world by weight, and it comes from nothing more than the tiny red threads inside that flower. Why the extreme price? Because each flower only produces 3 thread-like strands, and it takes an enormous number of flowers harvested entirely by hand to produce even a single ounce of usable spice. Who buys it? Specialty grocery stores, high-end restaurants, spice importers and distributors. Some cosmetic and skincare brands now using saffron extract in premium product lines. Restaurants in particular value knowing exactly where their saffron came from, since imported saffron is sometimes cut with cheaper filler, and a trusted domestic grower removes that risk entirely. Growing it is more accessible than people assume. Saffron crocus bulbs can be grown in raised beds or even large containers, and they multiply on their own year after year once established, which means the bulb count and the harvest with it keeps growing every single season. The wow fact: saffron regularly sells for more per ounce than gold, making it possibly the highest value plant product any home grower could realistically produce in a small backyard plot. Because the harvest window only lasts a few weeks each year, buyers who find a consistent domestic grower tend to lock in that relationship season after season, rather than searching for a new supplier every fall. We've got 2 plants left, and these are the strongest on the entire list. Number 2, wasabi. Most people think they've eaten real wasabi. They haven't. The green paste at almost every sushi restaurant in America is dyed horseradish, not actual wasabi at all. Real wasabi is a completely different plant, and it commands a serious premium because almost nobody grows it successfully outside of very specific conditions. Why does it sell so high? Because true wasabi needs cool running water, shade, and years of patient cultivation, conditions most farms simply can't replicate. That difficulty is exactly why fresh wasabi rhizomes can sell for well over $100 a pound to the right buyer. Who buys it? High-end sushi restaurants that want to serve authentic wasabi instead of the dyed substitute. Specialty food distributors. Chefs building a premium menu around authentic ingredients. Some growers sell directly to restaurants at a set weekly price, guaranteeing fresh rhizomes are graded to order right at the table, which is a selling point restaurants use to justify a higher price on the menu. Growing it is genuinely more advanced than most plants on this list, requiring consistent cool temperatures and clean flowing water, but growers who set up the right environment face almost no domestic competition. The wow fact: a single wasabi rhizome takes close to 2 years to mature. And restaurants routinely pay a premium simply for the guarantee that what they're serving is the real thing. Because so few domestic growers have mastered the setup, the ones who do rarely have trouble finding buyers. Word travels fast in the restaurant world once a chef finds a reliable source of the real thing. The final plant on this list has the highest demand of everything we've covered so far, and it might be one of the most surprising entries in this entire video. Number 1. Vanilla. Most people assume vanilla is cheap because vanilla flavoring is everywhere, in every grocery store, in every baking aisle. Real vanilla is nothing like that. Vanilla comes from an orchid, and it's one of the most labor-intensive crops on the planet. Every single flower has to be hand-pollinated within hours of blooming, or it produces nothing at all. Why is real vanilla so expensive? Because of that hand-pollination requirement combined with a curing process that takes months before the beans are even ready to sell. Supply has been unstable for years due to weather and market conditions in the regions that traditionally grow it, which keeps prices high and demand constant. Who buys it? Bakeries and pastry chefs who want authentic flavor. Specialty food companies making premium ice cream and baked goods. Extract producers. High-end restaurants building dessert menus around real ingredients instead of imitation flavoring. Small batch extract producers in particular are willing to pay well above commodity pricing for domestically grown beans, since it lets them market a genuinely traceable, single-origin product to customers who care about that story. Growing it at home is possible in warm, humid climates or a greenhouse setup, though it takes real dedication and hand-pollination skill. Growers who master that timing window, even on a small scale, put themselves in a position almost nobody else in their region can compete with. The wow fact: cured vanilla beans have sold for prices rivaling silver by weight during supply shortages, making vanilla one of the most valuable agricultural crops in the entire world, all coming from a flower that blooms for less than a single day. Buyers who want authentic, traceable vanilla are often willing to pay well above market rate just to secure a direct relationship with a grower, instead of relying on unpredictable imported supply. Imagine planting just one of these this season. 1 year from now, your backyard might look exactly the same, but your income could be completely different. None of these plants require a huge farm or expensive equipment to get started. What they require is knowing something most growers never bother to learn: who actually buys the thing you're growing and why they're willing to pay a premium for it. Which one would you grow first? Tell me below.